Welcome back to the Old Bald Guy shop. Today I've got Lou with me and we're going to make some new doors for his cabinets. They have this kind of cabinet door from back in probably the 90s.
Late 90s, yeah.
Yeah. And they want to update their kitchen with new shaker style doors. They don't want to go to the trouble of replacing all the cabinets, although they probably would like to have the oak out of there, but instead they're going to compromise and just make new shaker style oak doors. We just came from the lumber store and stocked up on lumber, and we're going to get started.
I think so.
Okay. So we've cut our pieces to length, rough length. Now we're going to run them through the joiner to clean up one edge, run them through the table saw so that the two sides will be parallel. And when we've done all of that, then we'll be ready to go to the router. So we have all our pieces cut to approximate length and squared up both sides of it. So now we are going to cut the slots and the rails and stiles both. We have a slot cutter bit, came with the rail and stile set. And we have put some spacers in between the upper and lower blades to give us the total width the same as the plywood that we're going to use for the centerpiece of the doors. And so now we're running these boards through, and we're going to we cut these at about 5 inches. So we can run these boards through on both sides and then rip them to their final width. And that way, if we get any breakout, we can trim that breakout off and recut them. Okay, you can see we have a pile of stiles here on the table, and over on the workbench over there we have a pile of rails, and we'll be cutting those to size as we go. And I'll be cutting rails to size and stiles to size, and Lou is going to be cutting the tenons on the router, and they will look like this. So we've put the tenon cutter on there. We have a jig here that we're going to use for this. We just lock the piece in place with a toggle clamp, run it through, and it cuts the tenon on the end. Very simple. Once you have a piece of this cut with the slots in it, it's easy to adjust this bit, because if you're high or low, it's going to leave a little piece sticking out on one side, and you just adjust it up or down until you've gotten that squared away on a piece of scrap. Now we have a whole pile of what looks like drawers, but they're missing the middles. And we are going to make the middles out of this plywood. That's what they call true 1/4 inch. It really has an MDF core and plywood veneer on it. Even that isn't true 1/4 inch, but we've cut our slots in our rails and stiles to the thickness of that plywood. Okay, so we've cut all of our pieces of oak plywood for the centers of these doors. A little tip here for doing that is to take the stile for each door that you're making and use that to set the saw precisely. You get the fence exactly, no play between the blade and the fence, and use that setting to cut your piece. Then you'll have a perfect fit widthwise in there. Lengthwise, you set these pieces exactly flush with the edge on both ends. Measure the distance between them. And we have a known depth in here, which is 7/16. So then you simply add a total of 7/8 to give you the inside length of the piece of plywood. Comes out perfect just about every time. We had 2 sheets of this oak plywood, and we measured 1 sheet to get the thickness that we needed to set the bit system so that we were cutting the proper thickness of the groove in here. The other sheet of plywood turned out to be just about 3 or 4/1000ths of an inch thicker, and so it made too tight of a fit. We couldn't get it assembled without practically hammering it together. So we had to take these to the sanding table and sand them, surface sand them with an orbital sander, and then it's always easier to assemble these if you take a sanding block and just put a little bevel on the edge of it. Then you're not peeling up veneer when you're trying to put these together. So that works better. So we did all that. These are complete now and ready to have the edges sanded. So I will take these over to the oscillating belt sander and sand the edges on them. Then we'll drill the holes for the pockets for the Euro hinges and then glue up. He brought me a sample of every door size. And so we can measure this distance from here to here and know where to cut our pockets. Everything is finished sanded. We have our pockets drilled for our hinges. The only thing left before we put finish on these is to drill the pilot holes for the screws that will attach the hinges. So put them in there, put a a straight edge up against them, self-centering punch. And now Lou can take these over to the drill press, drill those holes. We have the drill press set with a stop so that we control the depth, and we'll be done. We have a workbench support that we have put under here to support the end of the long pieces. So the project is nearly finished. We've been installing doors and drawer fronts today. Lou is just putting the finishing touches on over here, installing the last of the drawer pulls. I think he's got one little cabinet door to put on up there. And that is the finished product. Thanks for joining us in the Old Bald Guy's shop. Lou and Marilyn were happy with their new updated kitchen. We also made drawers for them to replace the old particle board ones that were in there. But we didn't show that because you've seen me make drawers before in the last episode. So join us next time in the Old Bald Guy's shop and we'll find something else to make.